Hey, this is lifetime Cowboys fan Jim Saxton with Jim Saxton State Farm. You want insurance knowledge and old school service? Give us a call.
Prescott fires for Cooks, and it's intercepted. Jair Alexander, he's got it, up on his feet, racing to the end zone, and he's in. Pressure, back foot throw, end zone, it is caught for the touchdown. Two here, though. Here's Prescott over the middle, it's going to be picked off, and no one in front of him. Darnell Savage, touchdown.
6 months later, Michael Coleman, Cowboys camp is about to kick off, and I still feel like every week since then, Green Bay has found a way to score on the Dallas defense, and the Dallas defense was non-existent in that divisional playoff game, and so Green Bay is still scoring like it's Madden.
So they returned to the scene of the crime, Oxnard training camp, to try to figure out what the hell happened. That was just a terrible game because, I'm like, wow, Cowboys get through the Packers. They could probably take San Francisco and boom. Because I already had Kansas City written in. We got a Kansas City, Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl. But you talk about falling flat on your face in the most significant game of the season. Forget about the 12-5. Good job. But now what you're going to do when the stakes are higher? It was a pitiful performance. Dak called out of heat for it, and he should have. Yeah. But the defense deserves just as much blame. Just as much. Because I kept thinking, when they're down 14-0, I think, okay, they're going to come back. This is going to be a statement game. But it just never happened. It just never developed. And generally, when one side of the ball of your team is stinking it up, the other is going to keep you in the game. Your defense is going to keep you in the game. They're going to buy you some time. But neither helped each other out on either side of the ball, and thus we got what we got last year.
So 3 straight 12-win seasons, and here we are, you and your guy Arthur, you guys from East Texas, the sports director of KLTV, that is Michael Coleman. And I'll tell you a little story real quick, but before that, we got to give a shout out to the namesake, Jimmy Saxton of SaxtonInsurance.com. He was a youngster when Michael Coleman was a sports director at KXAN here in Austin. and you were tied. You knew his dad and everything. But before we get going, Cowboys training camp MC is there, and we're going to have some special episodes like this, camping with the Cowboys and MC in Oxnard. But I want to give you a little story, just our connection. I was just an intern with a lot of hair in 1992, and he and Vic Lombardi gave me an opportunity, and they had to put up with me for a year and a half, and we've been in touch ever since. We actually, when he was in East Texas the first time, I was at their satellite station in the southern port in Lufkin, Texas, before I went to Oklahoma City, and we stayed in touch there. It's like family for the most part.
That's true. Well, we're really gypsies, man. We're gypsies. This is a small world, man. I mean, sportscasters, now there's so few of them now because of the way the industry has changed tremendously as it has. But once a sportscaster, you're always a sportscaster. Always. And I see something on social media, Facebook. You too can be a sportscaster. I'm like, come on now. And I read the comments from people. Oh, I love sports. I know a lot of sports. I'm like, see, y'all just think it's about knowing sports. They don't know how the sausage is being made. They think we just sit down and just roll the content that you see. There's a lot of work put in for a 3-minute show. Right. I mean,
and you got to lobby for those 3 minutes.
You got to lobby for that. Exactly. And so I just think with sportscasting or sportscasters, there's a bond there.
Yes.
Because we're kind of like athletes and coaches. Sometimes we don't know if we're going to be coming back. you might come and the locks be changing. Your key card's like, oh, they didn't even tell me. Oh, those are my boxes that are packed in the lobby. I mean, this business is cruel, it's cold, it's changed a whole lot, but I wouldn't change it for the world with the experiences that I've had a chance to endure. And proud of you, and my bearded sports guy. Now doing the anchor thing. I'm so proud of him because he's made that transition, which is hard. It's hard to get news directors to trust a sports guy to do your news. I just see you as a sports guy.
Right.
It's hard to put a person that shoots video on camera. I see you as a photographer, and that's the person calling the shots. And I just think for a lot of folks in this industry who have given it their all, and every day we just be faking. Every day is not a good day.
No, it's not.
I mean, I deserve a couple Academy Awards. I'm pretty sure you're in line for one too. But we're also acting, because when the show is over, you're like, But again, the good thing about it, it's like being an athlete. You get a chance to come out there and do it again and do it better than you did the last time. And I think that's the at this stage of my career, that's what the attraction for me is.
Yeah. What is this? 26 Cowboys camps for you?
Overall, I was thinking about that recently. Let's see, seven, maybe 8 in Austin. 7 the first time around at Tyler. So 7 and 8, that's 15. 15 and 7. Do the math. 15 and 7 is 20, 29.
Wow.
That can be right. Can it be right? Yeah, I guess it is. It's about 30 Cowboys camps. Now I was at the last 2 that were in Thousand Oaks. When the Fedora was around.
Oh,
I was around then.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. He's a great soul. So yeah, I've covered the Cowboys more than any team in my career, because most of my career has been in Texas.
Yeah. And
when when they ask me, "Are you a fan of the Cowboys?" I'm a fan of the Cowboys of the '90s. Because we got to see those guys grow up, develop in Austin. We were on the front line with those cats, man. And Jerry was a young man back then, and so he was Big Bob Jerry. I mean Big Buck Jerry. Everything was cool, and it was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun at that era, man. And so the Cowboy fans got spoiled.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because I know people now, but 96 is their last time around, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I got people, because you think about it, there were kids and they're who, like, say they were 10 years old. The next 5 or 6 years, they probably didn't think the Cowboys would ever just sink or go south. And now it's the flip side. The ones today don't think they're going to ever get back to the mountaintop, and I don't know that they will soon.
I don't either.
Because
everybody's getting 12-win seasons, but that's not good enough.
Well, and the thing is, Jerry makes all the money in the world not being a Super Bowl champ. And like, for instance, I just read last night, working on my notes and stuff. That's another thing. You want to be in sportscasting, you got to read. All right.
A lot.
You got to have knowledge about what's going on. I don't know everything, but I know a lot of everything. But they're going to charge you $20 to be on the field and watch the Cowboys practice.
Each time.
If you're a Cowboy fan, who turns that down? Right? I think, all right. I thought Arthur was going to knock on my door. He just walked by. They're going to come by and hijack the show again. Anyway, so let's talk about the Cowboys. Let's get back to the Cowboys and what we're here for today.
That's right.
And CeeDee Lamb is officially a holdout. He did not arrive for the team today. We know why Jerry Jones isn't right with the team today, but he'll be here tomorrow, the next day. I'm guessing, the paternity situation, But CeeDee Lamb is not in camp, and it's very interesting. We're going to see how that unfolds, and but to a man like what Tyler Smith spoke today, and now that Biadish and Smith, the other Smith, are gone. Now it's on the weight of the young lads on that offensive line.
And then the kid from Maynard, Texas, former Sooner.
Oh, is that where he's from?
Yeah,
that's right. Okay, yeah. And so you're going to have probably a rookie center. They drafted one, So there are a lot of things that need to be addressed. They won't be addressed by just doing drills. Okay.
No.
You look good in drills. You say, oh, y'all look pretty. Oh, yeah, you look good. But let's see what you're about when you get to line up against one another and line up against San Francisco, teams we were talking about. Or I was talking about with somebody earlier today. San Francisco. Cleveland might get them. Deshaun Watson. I think that's the opening game. And you got Lamar.
That's insane. He's had to wait what he's gone through with that case and almost took his career away from him. But hey, before we move forward, go ahead to all of our social media platforms. We got it. TikTok, Twitter /X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Like, follow, subscribe for free, whatever it is. Free is a good term. It's never a bad thing.
No, it's a 4-letter word, though.
It is a 4-letter word that you can use in front of your mom.
There you can. You most certainly can.
So what are the big stories that you plan to pursue during this year's training camp?
I'll tell you a story right now, and I will answer that question, but I'll tell you what's not a story anymore. Dak Prescott's not a story anymore.
No.
He's already made it clear. I'm going to go ahead and just play this year on this deal I got.
No contract.
And see where the chips may fall. So he's not a story anymore. CeeDee Lamb obviously is. Yeah. Micah Parsons and Mike Zimmer, Zimmer's been on board for 3 months, and all reports tell me, or from what I read, they hardly even have talked in the 3 months. And as I told you earlier, I'm sleeping on the couch at his house. I want to know what's going on. So that story there, because Zimmer's got to be the icebreaker. Micah's here for 2 more years. And I don't know if he wants to play linebacker or come off the edge. I don't know how many sacks he got last year, but I don't think he got many.
He didn't get as much as that he thought he was going to have.
Right. And I don't have a problem. And quit gaming the referee. Leave him alone. Just do your job. Now, you had the stats and and this LT comparison in some circles of him. Stop. Okay. Just blasphemy. Let these guys come into their own. So obviously Micah Parsons. Locally are, the University of Texas Longhorn, your alma mater, DeMarvion Overshown, who was having a great camp last year and then got hurt in the preseason game. And so the big upside for him, besides being talented, is he's young. He can heal faster. And so looking forward to talking to him about his own expectations. And they're going to be no different than they were last year. He might add one, don't get hurt, but you can't, that's not up to you. That is not up to you. There's friendly fire going on out there as well as opposing fire. Just got to have your head on a swivel. That's what you got to do.
The pride of ARP, Texas. Right?
ARP.
Man, East Texas, baby.
There you go. You know about East Texas.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that's some good football and a lot of talents. So we mentioned CeeDee Lamb. Now you're a veteran this is an annual occurrence since the 80s, contractual holdouts. And it's a common occurrence. Should CD be top 3 paid in the league? Isn't that what he's asking for?
Yeah. Well, if the Cowboys had taken care of this before to this point, he wouldn't be in position to want to be the highest paid receiver in the league. You know, I don't tell anybody how to spend their money, but you went through this with Dak. When are you going to learn? And so while you sit and Justin Jefferson's getting paid, and he got paid a lot to not be a CD Lamb, you know, you got to pay attention. And I know they do pay attention. I guarantee you, there's another wide receiver who signed for some big bucks. I can't remember who it is right now, but it's a situation where coaches and GMs need to tell players, but how do you do this? Don't compare yourself to somebody else. That person who's getting all this, he means a whole lot more to that particular team, like the Minnesota Vikings. Because what are the Vikings going to do? Kirk Cousins is in Atlanta. You know, they probably threw him extra dough just to, you got to stay, help us groom our new quarterback, our kid, JJ. But on the flip side, CD, you're integral to our offense. But you're not the only one that is. You're valuable. We got a few valuable people on this team, and we need to find a way to divvy it up to where we want you to be happy, and we also want you to still produce. And if you don't come to camp, you can't produce. You know, you don't got to take now. If on management, you don't have to take part. And wide receivers don't take part in physical drills anyway. They just go over there and catch balls. That's all they do. That's all they do. You know, it's like a year ago when Chris Jones of Kansas City held out. And I don't think he missed. I think he missed one game, I think. And he was complaining about not getting value for X amount of sacks or something. And he fell short. I know what it was. Playoff, he's going to sit out. They're going to sit him down for the playoffs, or not play him a lot. And he was complaining that, oh, you're curtailing my opportunity to get sacks and reach my incentive. And the comeback was, no, you curtailed the opportunity when you didn't play I believe he missed a game when you didn't play in the first game. See, it can work both ways. I'm not showing up. Then later on, they want to hold you out just to save you, but you're preventing me from reaching my incentives. Well, you did that in game one. So, you know, and they got agents. That's who they listen to, you know. And the money that's being thrown around the league today is crazy.
It's insane. I never thought I would see the amount of money and figures and slotted money for, certain veterans.
Yeah.
Where we are. I know it's progressively gone up for certain positions, but look at running backs. They're still not paid. You're a former running back.
They don't, but they're needed, but they're not respected. And if I'm talking about not being respected because of the pay scale, I'm going by for what I grew up on, watching running backs who didn't get that kind of money, but they were better than the running backs of today. I mean, and I backed it up by saying they played in the elements. There was no AstroTurf. There was no indoor arena. I mean, they played they were the mailman. Heat, rain, snow, and sleet. That's what they did. And what the running backs even today are getting is I would take it. Don't get me wrong. I would take it, but it's about the value they put on your team. And throughout the years, the value has been going to the quarterback. And that's just the way it is. That's the way it's going to be.
And these agents, they're not going to improve the ceiling. There's
no, not at all. Not at all. And I mean, I'm going to say Patrick Mahomes is worth what he's getting. I mean, if you're going to put a value to it, Mahomes is worth what he's getting. I don't know if Josh Herbert is deserving of what he's getting or just signed for whenever that was, because he hasn't shown me that he can win. Now he's got a new coach. Let's see if Jim Harbaugh can make him the player that matches the check he gets. Tom Brady most certainly deserves it, no doubt about it. I don't think I like him, but the Jacksonville quarterback, he kind of robbed the bank without a gun too.
Sure.
I like him, but it's like, hey man, you had a terrible season last year, and that they beat the Chargers last year. I don't know if that was a fluke or not, but he did get that playoff win under his belt. I'm trying to think another quarter. Lamar Jackson, he's a special kind of guy. Lamar's a different kind of guy, and he deserves what he gets. He's two-time MVP, And I think the problem, what happened to Lamar in that AFC Championship game was against the Chiefs. He tried to play Mahomes' game. I think quarterbacks get psyched out when they face Mahomes. I mean, granted, they don't face them one-on-one.
It's like Brady. It's like I'm facing Jordan in basketball.
Right, exactly.
Presence.
I mean, as great as Peyton Manning was, and he was, I don't think quarterbacks were trying to emulate him or keep up with him.
Yeah.
I don't think Tom Brady tried to keep up with him, but they try to keep up with number 15 out of Kansas City, and it's like, dude, play your game. Your game. That's what got you there.
You are. Yes.
Be who you are.
Exactly. I mean, I don't understand that. But I can say this. The one thing that we talked about, the Cowboys, Jerry, his sons, they're trying to work the financials with these contracts. But the lackluster offseason with acquisitions. I've never seen it as most inactive offseason in which they did need to replace certain positions or improve. It doesn't seem like they've improved. I mean, is that a fair assessment?
That's a fair assessment. I mean, they went 12-5. Are you going to win 12 games again this year with the guys you have? Yeah, they won 12 games without Stephon Diggs. But then Deron Bland, got hot. He got hot.
Wow.
Yeah, now you got a different defense. And what if you don't want to go along with that defense? Because Dan Quinn was a player's coach. I don't know much about Zimmer. I mean, he's hard-nosed, and he's, I know he's with Minnesota and Cowboys before. That was different talent.
Yeah.
That was much different talent on that team. And so I think in some cases, man, the league is getting younger and younger. And that's where the coaches they're getting younger and younger.
Look at the Dolphins. The Dolphins have a great example of a young coach.
Yeah, yeah. He just can't. He, like other coaches other than Don Shula, can't win in sub 40-degree weather. Don Shula's his legacy is not in danger whatsoever. Until they, that's what they used to say about Seattle before they started winning Super Bowls. They didn't win a Super Bowl. They should have won multiple Super Bowls.
They should have handed the ball off at the 2-yard line.
It'll be the most debate. There's no. I was going to say the most debated issue. There's no debate about it. It'll be the most honest and truthful fact in the history of sports. But Marshawn Lynch ain't crying. He's like the Snoop Dogg of the NFL. I mean,
he's one of the funniest human beings on this planet.
He's hilarious. He is hilarious. And he loves life. He's having a good life.
He was born and raised in Compton, right?
Yeah. Now you know what? It might be Oakland.
Oakland. Yes.
It might be Oakland.
Yes.
And he's cousins to the kid named Peters that played with Kansas City and then went to Baltimore. What's Peters' first name? Another malcontent, but he could play. They're cousins. And
you can see they're talented genetics.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
So we're talking about acquisitions. Listen, Zeke is a fan favorite, but what was that move? I like Zeke. Maybe they can get him to that plateau, that career yardage, maybe.
Well, I think part of what that was, the fault that you can have, the fault you throw at Jerry, and it's not a bad fault. He is loyal.
Yes, he is.
I mean, look how long Mike played, number 88, before he got the injury. It was time to go before then, but he kept him. And I think he kept Emmett a little bit too long. But Emmett went on to Denver and got 1,000 yards. And so I'll never disgrace Mr. Jones's dedication and loyalty to a player, because he has he has many one-on-one relationships with players post Dallas Cowboy.
Does a great job of keeping it.
He does. He really, really does. Nate
Even
Newton.
does.
Nate Newton. He'll be at camp this week. He usually is working. And I think that's part of it too. And I think he's like, "Oh, we'll give you a shot to see if you can go back to your glory." But they still don't have a running back room. I just don't really think that, which puts pressure on Dak Prescott, and maybe that's by design. Maybe that's by design. If you're gonna beat the Cowboys, you're gonna have to stop the passing game.
Well, I forgot where. Maybe it was in a conversation I was a part of this week, but no, it was. Well, oh my God, George Teague was on here.
Oh, yeah,
and he said that we were talking about that video of Dak dancing. No,
yes. Oh, he was on it. Wasn't that so uncharacteristic?
The boot's not needed. He said, George said it, and it's not verbatim, that he thinks that Dak, if he would just quit being so just everything by the book on the field,
right?
He said he's fundamentally sound, but if he would just be himself, to your point earlier,
right,
that and just go and do instead of forcing the design. That's what it. And I was like, I never thought about that. Maybe we need to see that ad lib version of Dak like Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Number 15. That's like in the Super Bowl against Philly. Was it Philly? Yeah, against Philly. Not the overtime win just recently, but against Philly. A player on what was after the pass was thrown and the player did not go into the end zone. That I can't think. McKinnon.
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't want to give any time to the opposition. On that particular play, I believe somebody was lined up wrong, and they wanted to change it. And they said, "Just run it." See, and when you got a quarterback like Mahomes, just run it.
Just go
anyway. And that shows you right there. I mean, he's made some coaches he's made Andy Reid a very, 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 very rich man.
Yeah, he's phenomenal, and he's got a little dynasty going at what was it? What used to be Kansas City was. What's the story there? The Hunt started the Dallas Texans, right? And then they moved that to Kansas City, right? Is that how that works?
Well, let me put what's in between that. Moved to Kansas City on a handshake deal. Dallas was not big enough, according to Mr. Hunt, for the Texans and the Cowboys. So he's looking for a new location. New Orleans Saints calls him. He has a meeting with the Saints pending. Before that meeting, he got a call from the newly elected mayor of Kansas City, Charles Bartle. There's a convention center after his name now, Bartle Hall. And I just been elected mayor. I got a budget. I inherited a budget of $750,000 that I can use on any business I want. It's yours if you come to Kansas City.
I was not aware of that.
That's the interception of the century. Well, 20th century, go around the 21st century. But that's how they came to Kansas City. That's how they came on a handshake deal.
It was meant to be.
And of course, I wasn't around yet, but I looked through the history of Kansas City sports. That's like the Philadelphia A's were the Kansas City A's, and now they're the Oakland A's. And so,
Wow.
So when they lost Oakland with a very young Reggie Jackson, rookie-esque Reggie Jackson, they were promised a franchise right away. Thus, you have the Royals. So the sports scene in Kansas City derived from landing the Chiefs, I think.
It is, and it's a great sports city too.
And Mr. Hunt was also a huge soccer guy. He co-founded the MLS. He had his hands in everything. My first 2 years in Kansas City, pre-Mahomes, I was the sideline reporter for the preseason games. And so I'm on the bus with Len Dawson, sitting next to Len Dawson, Lenny the Cool, as he was nicknamed, and all that. And he and I are sitting there talking, and he's telling me all these stories. I'm like, oh my God. I know because he anchored in Kansas City. He was the anchor for the ABC affiliate. But you got these two sportscasters who were competitors. I'm not a competitor to Len Dawson. I'm a groupie. That was my groupie era, just sitting next to Len Dawson. And he's telling me these great stories. Now, okay, how about this? The apparatus that you see on the sidelines where kickers kick into it, the invention, the creation from Lamar Hunt. They lost a game, and the kickers extra point or field goal was no good. And Mr. Hunt didn't bellyache to the kicker. This is Lenny talking now. He's like, but thing was, he says, you know what, Lenny? When the receivers, the running backs, when they're on the sidelines, they're stretching, they're warming up, they're getting ready to go back in. Kickers can't do that. They can't work on their craft before they get sent back out there. And he said he drew on a napkin. Look what I'm working on. What do you think? Something for the kickers to kick on the sidelines to keep their legs fresh and warm.
Just a simple net.
That's it.
With iron, metal.
And what would follow would be two of the better kickers in the NFL. Good friend of mine, Nick Lowry, and before him, Jan Stenerud. I mean, it all ties in, man. It all ties in.
I love history.
History.
History lessons. Hey, before we move to our new segment, but I had to show you this. Michael Gallup, former Cowboys receiver, picked up by the Raiders, I believe.
Yep.
And he retires after 6 seasons, not 6th season, prior to the beginning of Raiders camp. Well, I mean, have you heard anything? What is that all about? Well,
my Arthur brought that to my attention just before I went on the air, so I was able to get that out really fresh. I think where he got it from was 2 hours old, but it was still fresh. He and I talked. Arthur and I did. He just never had the career that he was promising to have.
Fast.
When he got hurt, his second year, third year, he just wasn't Michael Gallup anymore. I mean, the Gallup part was gone. I mean, and sometimes I'd watch him when he was playing. He makes some great catches and this and that, but he wasn't aggressive like he used to be. And his brother committed suicide while he was an NFL pro. I just think some negative things happened at an inopportune time for the prime of his career. I don't think I knew he was on the Raiders. I won't say roster, but he was with the Raiders because, the young man who got in that car accident, that car speeding, they're looking for receivers, So, yeah, I just think he says, you know what? I've done about all I can possibly do. Out of Colorado State? Is that where he's from?
Yeah, I believe you're right. Yeah.
How about that? So who knows? I don't know what his personality is like. Quiet guy. We'll probably never hear from him again.
No, that's bizarre to me. I mean, it caught me by surprise. Yeah, Colorado State.
Yeah.
That was.
So hopefully this week we can talk to Mike McCarthy about him. You had Gallup, he left and he retired. What's your thought on that? So we'll see if that opportunity presents itself.
We will. That's it. You hate to see it, but I think six seasons he'll get a pension.
I think it's 5. So yeah.
Shoot. He did well for himself.
Yes, he did. He most certainly did. Let's see.
All right, there's you. Speaking of McCarthy, courtesy of the LA Times, by the way, McCarthy and a photographer, he's extending his arm, clearly didn't want to be on camera. I think I remember this live on the broadcast, but it kind of looks like McCarthy on his way out of Dallas. Caption this, my brother.
If I don't win the Super Bowl, they're going to stiff arm me out of Dallas.
What will it take for him to be retained in
a 1 point loss in the NFC Championship game?
Oof.
But not a 20-point loss in the NFC Championship game.
You got to make it.
Hey, Ben, tell me something good.
MC, in this world of negativity, we need more positivity, because I believe there are more positive stories to tell or things that people should hang their hat on than there are negative. But tell me something good, my brother.
All right. Since we are entering the Olympics, let's talk track and field, my former forte.
Yeah.
I love that teenage sensation out of D.C., or, well, DMV, as they call it, Quincy Wilson. You ever heard about this kid?
I saw a headline about him.
This kid, he'll be the youngest, 16 years old. He's in the Olympics. He's going to run on a 4x400, I believe. And he set all kinds of records of 18 and under in the time trials up in Oregon. And he's just blowing people away. He's already got NIL deal and everything, NIL deal. And I just think he is going to be a sensation to make us forget about Usain Bolt, who I just dig the most out of.
Yeah.
But I think to be that young and see this in front of you, and I hope it doesn't get into the wrong hands of people. People take advantage of younger folks who are on the track of superiority and greatness. And so listen for him. That's telling you something good.
No, that's beautiful. Hey, when you think of young Olympians, you can go all the way back to Mary Lou Retton.
You can go back to a former Cowboy, Bob Hayes.
Bob Hayes in the 60s, right?
Yeah, Bob Hayes is the reason why you have his own defenses in the secondary. They couldn't cover him one-on-one, so somebody said, okay, listen, we're going to call this a zone. This is going to be your area. This is going to be your area. If you see he needs help, I think Bob was number 22. You see 22 coming, you go over and help. Yeah, but that's where the zone came from, because of Bob Hayes.
Cover 2, cover 4.
Yes. Cover Hayes.
Cover Hayes. 2 combo sky.
Precisely.
Well, MC, man, you've got a long couple of weeks in Oxnard, and we are fortunate that you and Jimmy Saxton, we're all partnered up to deliver a few episodes. And tell the fine folks, when do you think we should have another Cowboys Camp episode?
Well, once I find out where they're going to do this press conference and Jerry's going to be there, let's do it after that. Because at first it was going to be Saturday because of Jerry's pending stuff.
Yeah.
But now that that's over with, I heard some of the PR people talking that could be happening on Thursday. Now, they don't know yet. We'll see what happens. So I would say the next time you and I talk, which probably be within 2 days. Yeah, it will be after I hear from Jerry.
The State of the Cowboys address.
There you go. You cannot have that without him.
Oh, it's tradition.
Yeah, man. So that's what we're gonna do.
Everything's great. Everything's great in the land of the
yeah.
Cowboys and in the Jones land. But man, I can't wait. I'm glad you and Arthur are there again. You guys are veterans, pros. You tell Sham, you tell all those WFA boys, San Antonio boys, we said hello. I said hello. And looking forward to it. So for MC and the OG Man Cave boys, that being Hardball Hards, Big Mike, and the Coach Mo, we are out.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up.